Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Pink Floyd Completion Project. I'm just now realizing that I forgot to give my rating for Pulse. Go fucking buy it. All right. But today we are looking at Broken China. This is Richard Wright's, depending on how you look at it, second or third solo album. Hopefully you don't hear the music that my neighbors are playing. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I will admit, going into this, because I had heard, from somewhere that this album kind of drags on a little bit. It really doesn't. It drags on a little bit in the middle, but it saves itself at the end. The beginning's strong, the end is strong. It's just that middle bit where it's just like, there's a lot of stuff that sounds the same here. And there's 8 vocal songs. I was under the impression that there were 4. So, yeah. But first song, Breaking Water, it's kind of like if Cluster 1 didn't have David Gilmour on it. It's like if Cluster 1 was a Richard Wright solo track. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I enjoy this. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and then it launched into Night of a Thousand Furry Toys. It's the first of 8 vocal songs. It's got a decent guitar solo from Tim Renwick. It's kind of calm and contemplative, as it also sets up this concept that Rick had. It was about his wife's depression, his third wife's depression. And he stayed married to his third wife till he died. So, I think he finally found what he was looking for. Yeah, but it's pretty good. Hidden Fear, this is the second vocal song, and it's very, very ominous. It was just like, whoa, Rick, I didn't think you could write something this ominous. Like he's written stuff on a similar grand scale like this, Echoes, in particular. But it's like, what the hell, dude? This is great. It was quite the vibe, and it's beginning to rain. Hopefully I can get this done before this picks up too bad. But Runaway, this feels like something from a soundtrack from an obscure movie. It's a little bit too modern. You know how I complained about 80s noises with drums? Well, this one has 90s drum machines. So that's, it definitely didn't make my eye twitch a little bit hearing it from a Floyd member. Unfair Ground. If Marooned was ominous, or the guitar squeaking section of Echoes was like expanded upon. Satellite. This feels like something from a PS1 game. And then there's like the guitars almost want to do like the In the Flesh riff, like the dun 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 dun, but it only does the dun dun dun, not quite at that tempo. But again, it almost feels like they want to do the In the Flesh riff, and that was just brief sprinkling. But yeah. Woman of Custom, this is the third vocal song. Rick sounds great. This feels like many contemporary numbers of the time. The one that came to mind while I was listening to it was whatever song it is, where it's just like, and I don't want the world to see me, I just want you to know who I am. That's what it kind of sounds like. I'm going to be talking quite a lot, just hopefully to drown out the music of my neighbor. But, oh my god, it's still going. It's pretty good. Interlude is exactly what it is. It's titled Interlude. It's an interlude. It's just kind of there. Black Cloud, sounds like the rest of the album. Far from the Harbor Wall. This is the fourth vocal song. It's got more 90s sounds paired with, a more ominous energy. Drowning is another interlude. Sounds like something from one of the Portal games, actually. It sounds like something out of Portal 2. If you've ever played that game, I think you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, yeah. Um, reaching for the Rail. This is the 5th vocal song. And Sinead O'Connor. Last time we heard from her, she cameoed on Roger Waters' The Wall live in Berlin. This time she's just straight up doing most of the lead vocals for this one. You know, more of the rest of the album, aside from like a coffee shop bit in the second half. Rick takes lead vocals for a verse and a very David Gilmour-esque solo from Tim Renwick. David Gilmour, like, apparently came in to play for a session for this song, but then they scrapped it. But there's another version coming up later this week that we're gonna look at. So yeah, I believe that will be Thursday that we look at that. Blue Room in Venice. This is the 6th vocal song. There's more to the rest of the album. Sleet July. More very Gilmour-like guitarage out of Tim Renwick. Like very, very Floyd-esque. And then Along the Shoreline, this is the 7th vocal song. This could have been on the division bell. It almost has a positive energy. Again, another great solo out of Tim, and a great keyboard solo out of Rick Wright. There was a point when I was writing my notes, I was just like, I was going to write, this is what Ummagumma should have been. Kinda, yeah. It kind of feels like some of that studio tinkering came back very briefly, but at least it's, somewhat interesting, and I cannot say I was bored at any point of the album. It just kind of drags a little bit in the middle. Like, the song is, like, really good. Like, I was kind of like, what the fuck? This is really good. Because, this really elevates my impression of the rest of the album, because it all builds to that. So, like, in that context, shit, it really builds the rest of my album. Excuse me, I dropped my notes. Oh boy. Just now realizing I didn't put jeans on for this. But hopefully you can't tell that, and you wouldn't have known if I hadn't said anything. And then Breakthrough, this is the final song. This is the 8th vocal song, Sinead again. And it's a great way to wrap the whole thing up. It really is. Personnel, it's Tim Renwick on guitar, Pino Palladino on bass. I think he may have been on Wet Dream, but don't quote me 100% on that. I'm not referencing my notes for this. Cian Bell on cello. And then I'm going to butcher this. Manu Katchke on drums. So, yeah, it's pretty good. Go give it a listen. It's not on Spotify, but I'll provide a link to the album, to the version that I listened to in the description. And it's pretty good. I do highly recommend this. I read somewhere that Rick considered touring this album. I think that could have been pretty interesting. Rick Wright never did a solo tour, so if he was still alive, I think he might have done something. Probably in the early 2010s after David Gilmour did. After he finished up with David Gilmour on the On an Island tour, which we will cover probably not next week, because I'm seeing David Gilmour next week. Or I think at the end of this week, actually. I could be. Hopefully my math checks out. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Definitely give it a listen. I highly recommend it. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it. If you have something to add, please do so in the comment section down below. If you want to continue along this musical journey with me, please feel free to subscribe. If you want to hear me talk about something other than music, I have a podcast with 2 of my buddies called Dorkies. You can... I will post a link to the most recent episode of that in the description below. And you want to hear what I happen to be listening to that day, or a 15-second segment at least, you can follow me on Instagram at Sean_Heaster1979. I post a 15-second segment of a song on my story there every single day. And with that, I would like to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one, which will be Roger Waters live in the flesh from 2000. Bye-bye!